What's going on, guys? We got a little bit of a different type of video today. We are going to be talking about my training style, the things I've done recently to improve my training and recovery, my gains, my leanness, everything. We're gonna be talking about everything, okay? So sit back, relax, get your notebooks out if you want to learn a little thing or two or know from I'm just talking about my experience in the gym as a whole, I'm not going off any studies, anyone else's experience. I'm just gonna be talking about my experience in the gym, things I've improved on, and yeah, just about myself. So we got a little video over here of some training, full upper and lower day, so you guys can look at the things I've been doing to improve my training. Let's start from the beginning. The first thing I've done, and I fixed and implemented this into my lifting, was around 3 months ago, right when I started my cut. And that's gonna be eating carbs. For most of my lifting, I haven't really ate a lot of carbs. I remember around 2 years ago, I went on an insane bulk. I was eating 4,000 calories a day, and I didn't even know what carbs were, okay? The only thing I knew that carbs were good for is pre-workout carbs. So I would eat maybe, a rice cake or two before the gym. That's the only thing and only way I implemented carbs into my training up until 3 months ago. I eat 3,200 calories every single day. I get at least 0.7 grams of protein per pound of body weight. So that's around 150 to 170 grams of protein a day that I intake. And then all of the other calories that I'm eating come from carbs. So towards the end of my day, I get around between 550 and 600 grams of carbs a day. So I'm 6'3", I eat 3,200 calories, and I'm still on a slight caloric deficit. And that's how much carbs I get. So why should you be eating carbs? Carbs are energy. And some people might say, well, fat's energy too. Okay, well, fats aren't the energy that's going to be benefiting you in the gym. Fats are the energy of long-term stored energy that if you were starving, then you would start using fat as energy. But we're not going to be using fats for our productivity in the gym. We're going to be using carbs. So you got to be eating carbs. There's a pretty direct and linear correlation between how much carbs you eat and how well you perform in the gym. I was talking to Andrew about this sometimes, about how, he was saying how the more carbs you eat doesn't equal the better performance in the gym. And there's two ways you could look at this. So the example I use is genetic anomaly. So he recently he's been posting some videos about what he eats in a day, okay? So genetic anomaly, I don't know how much he weighs, maybe like 250 pounds, and he's shredded, okay? So he's obviously on gear, but it doesn't matter. He's huge and has a super high caloric maintenance because of how much muscle he has. So if he's not eating protein, he's eating carbs. So he intakes 1,000 grams of carbs a day compared to me, who eats 600 grams of carbs a day. Now, you might look at that and be like, whoa, he's eating so much more carbs, but the percent of carbs he's eating per pounds of body weight is probably pretty similar to me, because he's getting his protein in and all of the other calories he's eating is carbs. So it doesn't matter how much you weigh or what your maintenance is, just figure out how much protein you need, and all of the other calories should be carbs. Now, doing this, implementing carbs, makes you have more energy, and the more energy you have, the better your performance can be in the gym. So imagine someone who just woke up, didn't eat anything, goes to the gym. Do you think they're gonna have energy to hit PRs and have a really productive workout? Probably not, or at least it's not as much as someone who took all day to carb up, has 300 grams of carbs, and had 50 grams of carbs pre-workout. So those are some of the things you gotta be thinking of. Why I'm doing right now going to benefit me? Is my diet on point? Am I eating healthy foods? Because if you're not eating healthy foods, you know what? Well, you might say, oh, I'm not eating healthy foods, but I still have the same macronutrients as you. Okay, but you're eating processed foods and your sodium's higher and your sugar's higher. Not only is that bad for your health, but you also be looking worse. Now, some people might be like, well, how am I going to be looking worse? It's calories in, calories out. Yes, but macro and micronutrients can make you bloated, make your skin worse. They just make you look not as good as if you eat clean foods. So on top of the cardio, on top of the energy sources you need for the gym, you gotta be eating clean. And that's some of the things that I've been implementing in this past 3 months, and it's made my gains explode. It makes me get leaner. It makes me look better. It makes me, my face look better, even though we're not talking about mogging right now. We're not talking about mogging face-wise, but having a healthy diet definitely helps the face carb. The next thing we're going to be talking about is cardio. So if you want to cut, cardio is one of the best things you could do. There's this kid named Jackson. He's sponsored by Ecovision. A lot of you guys probably know him, and I like him a lot too. But one of the things I don't agree with that he said he was doing in his cut is he wasn't doing cardio. So Jackson, he's a little bit of a shorter, lighter person than me. So I don't know what his maintenance is, but I saw on his TikTok that he's eating 1,200 calories on his cut, which is very, very low. And in my opinion, what he's doing right now isn't the smartest. And it's because he's not doing cardio. He said he doesn't like doing cardio. I forgot what reason, but he just doesn't do it on his cut. He just rather eat less. Now, that can make sense if all you care about is losing weight. But if you care about losing weight and also excelling in the gym at the same time, that's not what you should be doing. In his case, he could probably get away with eating 500-600 calories more every single day if he just went on the treadmill for an hour. So there's two things that cardio can help with. Two main things, and that's losing weight or eating more to stay the same weight. In my case, it was a little bit of both. So the first thing is to help me lose weight on my cut, because obviously if you're doing cardio, you're burning calories, so it's going to help you lose weight. And the second thing that a lot of people overlook is the more cardio you do, the higher your maintenance is. Since you're doing so much things, so much steps, your activity level is getting raised, your maintenance of calories is now getting raised. So your body can process, your body needs more fuel. The more fuel you're taking in can be more carbs. And a lot of people might be like, well, the carbs are being used for the cardio, so it kind of cancels each other out, right? You're doing cardio so your body can have more calories, and the calories are carbs, but you're using the carbs for the treadmill, so it cancels out, right? Why not do it? But this is when carb timing comes into play, okay? Let's say you're on an upper-lower split. You hit upper, and you do your cardio after your upper. Or you could do cardio fasted in the morning before you lift or before you eat. These are two different ways you can do it, and they're pretty much the same. There are some benefits to doing fasted cardio, like you can burn fat a little more, but there's not very much studies that show that. It's kind of just a bodybuilder thing to do fasted cardio. I personally don't do it. If I didn't have school, I didn't have to worry about school and other things, I would probably be doing fasted cardio. But since a lot of you guys probably aren't in the position to be doing fasted cardio every morning, let's talk about doing cardio after the gym. So let's say you schedule 70% of your calories before you go to the gym or intro workout, so you have 30% of calories for dinner. If you do this, the carbs you'll be using isn't going to be going to the cardio, it'll be going into your workout. You'll be allowed to eat more calories for your workout, but then after your workout, you can burn the calories off by doing cardio. So the carbs are being used for your workout, but you're actually burning them off with the cardio, so it cancels out, but you still get the benefits of eating more calories and getting higher energy for your workout. That's why carbs are so important combined with cardio, because if you can time the carbs correctly for your workout, you can get the benefits of them while burning off all the extra calories on the treadmill later. And that's what I've been doing, and it works incredibly. Trust me, like night and day difference. Like you will make so much, like incredible amount of gains doing this. And right now I do an hour of cardio, a little over an hour, about 65 minutes every single day. And that walking at a 5 speed on incline, I can burn 700 calories. So that's 700 more calories of carbs I could be eating than if I didn't do it. That's so much. Like, what is that? That's easily over 100, almost 200 grams of carbs. Like, you're gonna feel the difference. And over time, it's not even gonna be comparable compared to if you didn't do cardio. So, two main things we're talking about right now. Carbs and cardio. Do both of them. They interchange. They work together as a team. They will literally transform your physique. You want to get leaner. You want to get more energy. Do your cardio and eat your carbs, okay? The last thing, our next topic we're going to be talking about, and our final topic we're going to be talking about, is taking a step back from your training. Take your ego back, stop ego lifting, drop the ego, and increase how good your form is. I'm not gonna lie to you, this past month, I didn't progress on any single lifts in the weight category. The weight stayed the same. Maybe in some lifts, the weight even decreased. Now, how are you gonna make gains if the weight is decreasing? You're not even progressive overloading. Well, let me answer your question. So, the way I've been taking a step back from my training and zooming in on the little things has been my form and tempo. Also, my rep ranges. So right when I started upper lower, I got into the theory that the rep range 3 to 6 would be the best. You're gonna get the benefits of going to failure with good form, and you're not gonna be worrying so much about fatigue maxing and doing 12 reps, 15 reps per set, even though you're just gonna be training to failure at the end, so it would be the same thing. So I was like, okay, 3 to 6 reps, that sounds good, okay? I'm gonna tell you why, from my experience, why doing the 3 to 6 rep range was not good. And that's because throughout time, I got so worried about the weight moving rather than my form staying the same, and I ended up ego lifting and suffered from things like ego lifting, rib compression, not feeling the muscles when I should, tempo being off, the whole deal, just because I was so worried about a certain rep range of me getting at least 3 reps every single set that I worried so much more about the weight than my muscles actually working and pushing the weight rather than the exterior muscles doing the work for me. A little example of rib compression, maybe some of you guys don't know what it is. So it's basically when your back is arched like this. So when you're doing a fly, you want to have your body stacked in a line. Your ribs are going to be in a vertical line. You're not going to be arching your back. You're not going to be curling forward. You're going to be straight up, okay? The whole point of bodybuilding training is to get a big chest, to get big arms. Whatever you're training, you want to emphasize that muscle. Training with rib compression, you're preventing yourself from getting maximum gains in the area you want it to. So if you're curling forward on a pec deck, if you're curling back, maybe your front delts are taking over the pec deck movement instead of your chest. It's little things like this. So keep your form as good as you possibly can and your tempo as well. The reason why my 3 to 6 rep range slowly became a stupid idea is because I was so worried about the weight that over time I really thought I was progressive overloading, increasing the weight, but in reality the weight that I should have been doing stayed the same. My form just got worse, and the only reason I was increasing the weight is because each upper day or each lower day my form got worse and worse and worse, to a point where I would get a set done. Maybe I got 4 reps in a set, and the quality of the set was just so trash that I was training other muscles more than I was training my actual intended muscle. I would say around a couple weeks ago, I lowered the weight on literally every lift. I lowered the weight on. And I thought at the beginning, I only have to lower it a little bit, just a little bit to get my form right. But it's not true. I had to lower the weight maybe 20% on every single lift to ensure that I would have good form. And doing this lowered my ego a ton. I took a step back mentally from all of the crazy progressive overload numbers, like, all of stacking over 2 plates on the pec deck just to going to a plate and a 25. Things like that. And it can take a toll on your mental health just based on seeing how much weight you're pushing. But at the end of the day, if you're training for bodybuilding, it doesn't matter how much weight you're pushing, it's how you're moving the weight. So I've made so much progress, not only in my physique, but the quality of my workouts and injury prevention just by making my form better and better and better. And I see some people like TNF. I look up to TNF a lot. His form is amazing. He preaches good form, just like most bodybuilders, but I especially see it in him, Clark Kent as well, Dorian. They have super good form. They know the leverages of their muscles well, and they incorporate that into their lifting a lot. And I think that's one of the things that I'm starting to do now, just based on maturing in the gym, is lowering your ego and making sure that you're actually training the intended muscle you want to. One of the hard parts about lowering the weight is making sure when you're building back through progressive overloading that your form is staying the exact same as when you had a lower weight. So let's say you're doing a play on incline bench, okay? A play's easier for you and you can execute it with good form easily. When you get to your top set, let's say you do 225 for your top set, your form should be the exact same as when you did it on 135. You should just be going to failure now. And that's how it should remain through progressive overload. Let's say in a couple weeks you do 230, 235, 240, week after week. If you see that your form is getting altered based on how much weight you want to push, cut back as soon as you see that. Or if you're not hitting the rep range, like the other day I did a leg press. I got 5 reps and the reps weren't that much. The reps were kind of sped up and I didn't have that much quality in the set. So what I did today, I dropped the weight 5 pounds and I got 70 clean reps, and that set was way better than the set I had last week of 5. The reps weren't even slowed down and controlled and had good tempo. So make sure within your training, you're training smart and you're training to actually get big. Stop caring about how much weight you're doing. No one even cares. The only one who cares about it is you, and you're killing your gains by doing it. Like, if you actually care about how much weight you're lifting in the gym and your form is trash, you're literally a cornball. Like, why do you even care? It's bodybuilding. I don't care about how much weight you're lifting. As long as you look good, what do I have to say? Imagine someone comes up to you, David Lade, and he does 225 on bench and you do 245 and he just mogs you. Do you think he's gonna care that you do? He doesn't care that you do more than him. He looks insane because he trains with good form, good tempo, and knows what he's doing. And that's what bodybuilding is. You can't just be throwing around weight and expecting results. You should be guaranteeing results based on how you're training, your training style and your tempo and your diet and your cardio. It all comes in. A lot of these things I'm talking about are just a little bit of bodybuilding, you know. The main thing is intensity within training in the gym, but all these little factors like cardio, making sure you're eating clean, lower the weight on your sets, they all add to a greater percent than you would think. Also, I forgot to talk about it earlier. Like I was saying about the 3 to 6 rep range, the rep range that I go from now is 6 to 8. Me personally, the higher rep range ensures that I have better form and I can actually get a better contraction knowing that I can get the lowest amount of reps I ideally want is 6, and that's 6 with perfect form, rather than, all right, let's say I don't get 6. Let's say I get 5 in a set. Okay, so that's 5 reps of perfect form. But if you were doing a set with 4 to 6 rep range, 4 being the lowest amount of reps you'd be ideal with, 6 being the most amount of reps you'd be happy with in a set. Let's say you overshoot and you get 2 or 3 reps. A 2 or 3 rep set going to failure is gonna promote a decent amount less growth than if you were to go to failure on a rep with 5 reps. They're both overshooting. You're getting less reps than you intended to, but you're going to be getting more gains getting 5 reps than 2 reps, you know? Hopefully you guys learned something from this video. Hopefully it wasn't too boring for you guys. I was just talking about my experience in the gym, what I'm implementing, and how it's affected my physique. So hopefully you guys mature a little bit in the gym. If you haven't already, lower the weight, make sure your form is locked in, and I can assure you that doing that will make you have a lot more gains than you are getting right now. So yeah, see you guys next time. Planning on going to Pump House this weekend, hopefully, because I do have a 4-day weekend, so that'll be super good. Always excited for the Pump House videos. They're always a little bit better of a quality. Get more videos of me actually posing in a posing room rather than a windowsill with bugs all over it. Yeah, boys. Hope you guys had a great day. Stay locked in. See you guys next time.